Hi, my name is Jocelyn Fumi, and today we'll be talking about Hotel Rwanda. Hotel Rwanda is about the 1994 Rwandan genocide through the eyes of Paul Rusesabagina, the general manager of the Hotel Mikoline in the Rwandan capital Kigali. The Hutu majority took to the streets after the Rwandan president was shot down and slaughtered the blamed Tutsis with machetes. The Hay Radio, RTLM, broadcast about Tutsi cockroaches and how they must be exterminated. Paul Rusesabagina saved over 1,200 Tutsi and Hutu lives by calling in for favor for wealthy abroad generals in the Rwandan army, even sometimes the very leaders that were having Tutsis and Hutu sympathizers like him killed. And to be honest, when I first saw this movie, I was very emotionally overwhelmed. The movie was it was full of drama and it was full of emotions that you didn't know where it was going to lead you next. I found myself laughing at one point, crying at one point, scared at one point. It was really crazy, and they were their casting was done very well, because when the Belgian came over and they divided the Rwandans up into the Tao, the Tutsi, and the Hutus. The Tutsis were deemed better because they were lighter skinned, slender and longer nose, the white people nose, and they were taller. While the Hutus were darker and had flat nose, and they weren't deemed so favorable. They weren't very favorable. So even though the Hutu were the majority, the Tutsis were actually in power because of the Belgians. But during the movie, um, Rus Paul Rusesabagina's wife is actually it was very well done, because she's light skinned and she has a long nose, and she's actually a little bit taller than him. And if you look at Dubé, who is Paul's driver and Paul's helper at the hotel also, he was very dark skinned and he had the very flat nose. So what you would characterize as a Hutu, you would see that in Dubé. A few other things about the movie, and it at the very beginning, it talks about how Paul saw his brother-in-law the night of April 6th, and that was the very last night he would see them again, and that's true. And it was in the movie also. It talks about how neighbors took cover at Paul's house until they could get to the hotel. That was also true, and that was in the movie. It talks about how in the movie also, Paul's sons go missing and they can't find him. And when they do find him, he's covered in blood, so they think that it's his blood, but it's actually someone else's. And that's actually very false, because even though his son did go over to someone's house, he came back and just didn't talk for days after that. And also, his kids were younger than 12. His oldest was 15. His oldest was 16 and his youngest was 15. Another thing that wasn't real in the movie would be the ending. The ending, we see how they all become reunited again and everything's fine and they get to leave Rwanda. But in reality, he actually doesn't get to leave Rwanda for about 2 years, and not everyone were able to find their family like how they found their family. So it wasn't a happy ending. It wasn't a happy ending. Um, I think that the film was a lot more factual than it was fiction, and they did a very good job with the story. And even they didn't show the Rwandans getting killed and getting chopped down, but they conveyed the message that needed to be brought about, and they showed how bad of a genocide it was to be killing almost a million, people in 3 months. And they definitely show that, and they also give you some factual evidence at the end of the movie also. So I think the movie was very well done.